Welcome back to World Crisis Radio, discussing the science of economic program. Economic program is a science. It is the distillation of political economy. That means history, politics, economics, physics, the whole range of the sciences. And it's an analysis of what the urgent tasks of world civilization are. Most civilizations have collapsed from within. Read the Toynbee catalog or the Spengler catalog or any others that you want, right? I'm sure Samuel Huntington has a catalog somewhere. They generally collapse, right? That's the common destiny of human societies. To have that happen on the world scale would mean genocide. So if we don't want that, we've got to come up with an actual articulated program of economic survival, economic recovery from depression and the reform of the world economy. And it's not based on libertarian principles, because those are heteronomic. Those come from Jeremy Bentham, seems to be the main guy operative these days. They're also quite hostile to the U.S. Constitution when you get right down to it. So therefore, you've got to have a programmatic identity. If you don't have a programmatic identity, what do you have? Maybe you have a cultural identity. Well, some people may like it, and some people don't. Some people find the atmosphere congenial, but Limbaugh's audience, he can say to them, it's a parade of human debris. They're not going to find it culturally congenial. So then you're just one group doing your own shtick in a crumbling society. You've got to go beyond that. Now, the Occupy Wall Street Declaration is a document of impotence and bankruptcy. It is not even an analysis. It doesn't explain how we got here. It doesn't say there was a derivatives panic in 2007, 2008, and now we've got the reactionaries grouping for their austerity ghoul attack on the society. It's a laundry list of complaints. Now, one of the problems with protest movements in the United States, and you'll see Limbaugh and others, they're already doing it, they say, oh, they're whining and complaining, but they don't have anything to propose. You're vulnerable to that now. So you've got to have things to propose. Now, again, the analysis or the list of complaints, really, in the Occupy Wall Street Declaration does not appeal to people in this sense. They don't need to hear about how bad it is. They don't need to hear that there are abuses. They don't need to know that the American people are hurting. They know this. They know it better than you. They're not interested in parading all of the terrible things that are going on. They want to know how to fight. Are you going to fight for them? What can they rely on you to do? Are you committed to do anything for them, or are you just there to spin out your fantasies? We've had a whole parade of these spokespersons for the demonstration going on television. They're wasting the time they get, right? I've seen half a dozen interviews of these people now. They waste the few precious minutes on national network television, cable usually, that they get by extolling the virtues of their imbecilic consensus model. They don't say, we're out there fighting to stop foreclosures. We want to put a cap on credit card interest rates. We want to bring back the usury laws. We want the tuition to be free at public institutions. We want to tax Wall Street to pay for all these things. Right? So you put these things together, and it opens up a new world. We're a million miles from this. And again, a job, a doctor visit, to stop a foreclosure, to pay tuition, to get out from under a crushing student loan debt burden. Those are the issues. Now, therefore, let's look at what we can do. The inspiration is always shift the cost of the depression to Wall Street. The zombie bankers and the hedge fund hyenas created the crisis. Time for them to pay. Time for them to cough up. Actually, this is the only way to express this in the existing terms of the society. First of all, the student loan amnesty. Cancel $1 trillion of these debts. Some of it's government guaranteed. Wall Street sales tax will take care of that. Some of it's private banks. They will eat the losses. They've been bailed out. Stop fraud closures. Bank of America, now notorious. They've been hauled into numerous courts. They fraud close on you when you don't have a mortgage, when you're perfectly up to date. It's highway robbery. Stop it. Obama had a chance to do something to save the Democrats in the October 2010 election. He failed. We want to defend and indeed expand the social safety net. We don't want to cut Medicare. We don't want to cut Social Security. We need to expand the Social Security pension. Most people's 401ks are gone or will shortly be gone in the waves of panic that are lashing the speculative markets around the world. The Wall Street sales tax. Again, we pay sales tax. Wall Street zombies, hedge fund hyenas pay nothing. 1% tax pays for the rest of the program. Nationalize the Fed. I'm sorry. End the Fed. End the Fed is okay if it means end it in its current private form. End it in the form that is controlled by Wall Street. There's also a confusion that many right-wingers, many libertarians have, is that they think that the Federal Reserve controls Wall Street. No, dear boys, it's the other way around. The critique of the Fed, and I was present at the creation, agitating on this in the 70s already, the problem with the Fed is that it's privately owned. That's what's wrong with it. If it were a government institution, if it were subservient to the laws made by Congress and signed by the president, we would be better off. This is the only conceivable reform that we could have under our system. Nationalize the Fed. Make it do what the Congress and the president say they want to do. What other system do we have? It's a way to get economic policy back into politics and to save us from the weak presidents that we've had. The weakening of the presidency in the 20th century, the Federal Reserve Act and the two-term limit. Basically, no more Franklin D. Roosevelt. The last president who broke the power of the Fed was Roosevelt. He would call them up and tell them what they would do, and they did it because they knew he would destroy them. And actually, it was a terrible mistake not to destroy them in the sense of nationalizing this institution. We want that credit-creating power. We don't want that to go back to Jamie Dimon, Blankfein, and Pandit the Bandit. That is one of the key resources. It's actually the key resource for the American people. We want to be able to generate credit. We know that the money fetishists and the people at the maximum of alienation, the libertarians, they say, oh, money is metaphysically real. It's not metaphysically real. It's a political fiction. Always was. But what we can use, when we have unemployed workers here and when we have empty factories here, we can put them together. What does it take? Generate credit, $1 trillion from the nationalized Fed that goes primarily to the states. Let's give the states a new lease on life to build an interstate highway system, a national fast rail, maglev rail, passenger freight, and commuter railway system, the water projects and canals that we need to keep the bulk freight on the inland waterways going. We got to rebuild the electrical grid, 103 nuclear reactors. And I'm sorry, dear greenies out there, we better make it nuclear because solar is a bad joke. Wind is a bad joke. Green jobs are a mockery. No more. Modern energy production. And we'd also need public buildings and public works. Back in a minute.